In today's webinar, we will talk about courses available at the University of New Orleans, the unique features that make this university a top choice, and the campus life. As you can see, I will not be alone here. With me, there is Kate Faubert, Assistant Director at the University of New Orleans. So thank you for being part of this event, and thanks to all of you. And without further ado, let's get started. Kate, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Kate Faubert. I am the Assistant Director of the Graduate Admissions Program through the grad school at the University of New Orleans. Next slide. This is my information here. So if you ever need to contact me after this presentation, you can send me an email directly. I am also a UNO alum twice, so I have gotten my bachelor's degree from the University of New Orleans in international relations, and then my master's of degree in higher education administration. So I'm a big fan of UNO. I think that we have some great programs, and I'm really excited to talk to you about all of our different programs that we have to offer at UNO, especially on the graduate side. So why UNO for grad school? So the University of New Orleans is New Orleans' only public Carnegie-ranked research institution. So with that, we have a lot of research opportunities for our students. We have about 12 research centers located on our campus or near our campus in the surrounding area. So it really gives our students that hand-on experience. Also, because we are located in the city of New Orleans, we have so many different companies and different organizations coming kind of from all over the world to work with our students and to offer different career opportunities for them as well. So among that, we also have very affordable programs. We are one of the most affordable universities in the state of Louisiana. We also are a very diverse campus. We have students from all walks of life, so including students from a lot of different countries, different parishes in the state of Louisiana, and just kind of from all over. And then we also have just cutting edge curricula, industrially neat faculty members, so you get to work hands-on, one-on-one with our faculty members in the different research partnerships and different things like that. And then again, we have over 40 programs on the graduate level. So this includes programs that are in certificates, master's, and doctoral programs in the 4 colleges. All right. So as I was saying before, we are a very affordable university. So one thing that we really pride ourselves on is being known as a university with the least amount of debt that you can graduate from in the state of Louisiana. So we've had that ranking since 2022. We still have that ranking, so it's something that we really pride ourselves on, really trying to help students with many financial needs and just help them as much as we can. So for annual tuition and fees, it's going to be less than $10,000 for Louisiana residents, but anybody out of state, international, it's going to be under $14,000 for them as well. And then this is again yearly, of course. So the fees will typically increase year to year. So that's just something to keep in mind. So it can change year to year, but typically this is kind of our average cost. We are also nationally ranked for social mobility. So that's really important too to consider as you're looking at your graduate programs. Diversity. We are also known as one of the most ethnic diversity in Louisiana, so university with the most ethnic diversity. As I was saying before, so in Louisiana, we have parishes instead of counties, which some other states have, but we have had students from all 64 parishes, all 50 states, and then more than 140 countries enroll at the University of New Orleans. And global and locally, we have a very proud alumni base. So we have over 80,000 alumni worldwide, and we have over 40,000 alumni in the greater New Orleans area. So a lot of different opportunities, a lot of networking opportunities for you to have at UNO. Okay. So let's dive into our graduate programs. For this part of the presentation, I have kind of split them up by concentration. So we're gonna go through all 40 programs, but I'm gonna go through them by different areas. So first, we're gonna do business. So here we have the accounting masters, online tax accounting, business administration MBA, and then the executive MBA, which is just more of an accelerated version of the regular MBA program. Financial economics doctorate, finance masters, and then healthcare management, masters in that, hospitality and tourism management. So we have two options for this program. We have the residency, which is going to be the in-person program, and then we have the online hospitality and tourism accelerated masters. So something to just to keep in mind, anything that has an asterisk by it, that means these programs are not eligible for I-20s or student visas. And the reason for that is because these programs are online. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's going to be for your business. And then some that I kind of just want to highlight here, a very popular one that may be of interest to any students on the call right now is that hospitality and tourism management. So with that program, because we are in New Orleans, which is a very, it's a city that gets a lot of different people traveling to it. You know, we have Mardi Gras, we have different festivals going on throughout the year. So hospitality and tourism is basically kind of a focus in that area. So you're going to really be learning your event planning, wedding planning, festival calendars, different things like that, working in a restaurant, owning and managing your own hotel. So you're really going to get that first hands-on experience there. And then we do have this little QR code. This just, if you scan it, it just takes you to our page with all the graduate degree programs on it. Okay, and then for education concentration, we have counselor education. We have both the master's and the doctorate level, online curriculum and instruction, educational administration PhD, educational leadership, which is an alternative certificate that's a lot of students get while they're getting their master's degree. And then online educational leadership. So this is if you are working through K through 12 high school in the United States, online higher education administration. And so this is like college setting, if you are interested in learning more about the ins and outs of student affairs, anything like that. And then teaching MAT, so this is getting your Master's of Arts in Teaching. So again, just keep in mind the asterisks, these programs are not eligible for I-20 student visas, but this doesn't mean this shouldn't deter you from applying for those programs. If that's something that you're interested in, but just something to keep in mind. And then the counselor education program, that is actually one of our more competitive programs. So we have one of the top programs in the state of Louisiana with this. So there are additional requirements to this program. So if that's something that you're interested in, I can definitely send you that information as well. Okay, and then arts. Here we have arts administration, film and theater with a focus on either film or screenwriting or theater. So when you apply to this program, you will be able to choose your focus. And then we also have fine arts and then music. All right, and then for sciences, so as you can see, this is definitely probably the biggest area of subject. We have a lot to offer throughout the sciences field. So here we have biological sciences. On this track, there is a thesis track, and then a non-thesis 1-year track, so you can choose. And then we have integrated biology on the doctorate level, chemistry in both master's and PhD, computer science in both the master's and PhD, cybersecurity and operations, earth and environmental sciences, again, master's, PhD. On that master's track, we again have a 1-year track or not 1-year track, the non-thesis track, and then the thesis track. Let's see, certificates. Oh, I have artificial intelligence as one line. That is not a degree, so you can ignore that, but on certificates it is. So that is one of the certificates we offer. So coastal sciences, data analytics, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. And then we also have mathematics, master's, PhD, applied physics, master's and PhD, applied psychology as the doctorate, and then psychology as the master's as well. Okay. Y'all still hear me okay? Got a little alert that my voice quality is poor, but hopefully y'all can hear me. Okay, so now for the engineering concentration, we offer civil, electrical, mechanical, naval architecture, and marine engineering. So these are both on the master's of science and engineering level, and then we also have the PhD doctorate levels as well for these degree programs. And then online engineering management, we just have the master's for that. And that again is going to be an accelerated 8-week program. And then certificates, we have a certificate in coastal engineering. In social sciences, so we have creative writing MFA. So we have the residency program, which will meet in person. And then we also have the online creative writing program. Online English MA, we have the history MA, justice studies, which is our doctorate program. And then we also have the MBA public administration as well. And then online Romance languages MA and sociology MA. And then for the planning and urban studies focus, which is under the liberal arts, the College of Education and Liberal Arts focus, but because this one is a little bit more expansive, we kind of had it on a different side. So within planning and urban studies, we have the transportation masters, and then we have the urban studies master of science as well as the doctorate. And then we also have that urban and regional planning, or we call it MERP. We have that program too. And then lots of different certificates. So you have the disaster management and community resilience, the geographic information system, and the historic and cultural preservation. And one thing that I don't think I really touched on enough, again, what a lot of our students do is when they go to get their master's degree in, say, like urban and regional planning, while they're also here, they're also going to be getting a certificate if they want, and they can get that certificate in, say, you know, historic and cultural preservation or GIS. Because New Orleans is is a city with a lot of old history. We have a lot of good opportunities for our students to do kind of anthropological digs. We actually just had a lot of our graduate students do a dig in the St. Louis Cathedral in the French Quarter of New Orleans. So a lot of our students at UNO are kind of hands-on with that experience. So again, within a lot of the master's programs, you can get a certificate with it as well. So definitely something to keep in mind. Okay, so now we're going to be going to our admissions requirements. Okay, so these are the general admissions requirements. And again, our link to that is up here, and I can put it in the chat later for you all. But so you just need to submit an application to the university by going to www.apply.uno.edu. You're going to want to make sure that you select the graduate application, and then from there you will choose your student type. So that could be doctorate. If you're doing a master's certificate, 8-week accelerated program, you would just kind of choose that through the application. The application fee is $40. We do offer application fee waivers. And then if that's something that you're interested in, I can give you my information and I can just let you know the requirements to get an application fee waiver. Also, so again, minimum GPA requirements, you need to have a bachelor's degree from an accredited institution. Minimum GPA requirements, and these have just changed. They are revised for students who are applying for fall 2024. So we are looking for a 2.5 overall GPA on a 4.0 scale for a bachelor's degree, or a 2.75 overall GPA on a 4.0 scale on the last 60 hours of your undergraduate coursework, or a 3.0 GPA on a 4.0 point scale on at least 9 hours of graduate coursework. So if you are not, you really only have to meet one of those. If you're not meeting all three, that's fine. Most students are typically kind of hitting that first one, that 2.5 overall GPA on your bachelor's degree. If you don't have that, then from there, we'll look at about 2.75 on your last 60 hours of your undergraduate coursework. Or again, if you have this maybe you did better on a master's program, maybe you're applying for another master's program or doctorate program, then we're gonna look at that GPA on that grad level. Okay, so this is again general. Now with international admissions requirements, we do have some additional requirements here. So the biggest thing is that we need a NACIS agency member evaluation. So any university outside of the United States, we need a NACIS agency member evaluation. So we wouldn't need your transcript, we need the evaluation of the transcript from a NACIS member. And on that evaluation, it doesn't necessarily have to be the course by course evaluation. It can be a general like overview evaluation, but it has to show your GPA so that we can make sure that you're meeting those admissions and program requirements that are on that first slide there. Also with this, we would need English language proficiency tests. Some countries are waived from this. So if your country is on that list, then you wouldn't have to worry about submitting your English language proficiency test. But these are usually like your IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo English. Those are kind of the three that we usually see. And then you would also need to show your passport and then your proof of financial support. And then kind of just diving in to this slide. I know it looks a lot, but please don't let it intimidate you. So this is just kind of a flow chart we create for our international applicants so they can kind of understand the stages and processes of kind of like starting the application to enrollment. So again, so graduate school requirements, you need to meet that, the NACIS evaluation, English language proficiency test, passport. Please note, it can be unofficial. You could send your unofficial NACIS, your unofficial proficiency scores for conditional admittance. But we will need the official NACIS and the official test scores later on for full admissions. So just keep that in mind. And then, and then meeting your graduate program requirements, which I'll talk about on the next slide. So once you have all that with your application, then you're going to submit it. Then we're going to do the first review in admissions, and then the program will review it. If they, see that everything is meeting the requirements, they will get you conditional admittance. And then from conditional admittance, we would need your official financial documentation showing, sufficient funding and scholarships. And then your official NACIS and official English proficiency scores. And then if you are currently enrolled in U.S. institution, you can also send us that current I-20. But if you aren't, that's fine. And then you would get full admissions. And then from there, that would go to the Office of International Students and Scholars, who would issue your I-20 and, help you along with the student visa interview and everything like that. So this is kind of the process. Also, one office that I am forgetting to mention here, and they're very, very important. So I work alongside our Assistant Director of International Admissions. He works in the Office of Enrollment Services, Todd Gitlin. But he is also very hands-on in making sure that, you submit all the documents you need. So it will probably be either, me or Todd or other graduate admissions counselor, Kent, who you would be kind of talking with throughout the application process. And then once you're fully admitted, then you would work with the Office of International Students and Scholars. So if that process was confusing at all, please put questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and I will get to it at the end of the session, and we'll go through all of them. Okay. So as I was saying, so we went through all the general admissions requirements, the international admissions requirements. Some programs also require additional documentation. So some programs, not many, I will say not many, require the GRE or GMAT scores, but a few of our programs do. It's typically like the accounting program, I think finance, and then some of the sciences programs do as well. And then statement of purpose, letters of recommendation, resume, CV. Some of the arts programs need a writing sample. And then some of the programs, especially engineering, they have a separate GPA minimum requirement, as well as the MBA. So even if you are meeting like our general minimum admissions GPA, the program may have a separate GPA that you need to meet as well. So just something to keep in mind. Again, all of that information is going to be at this link here. I can put that in the chat too, but they have that all laid out for you as well. Okay, And this kind of brings us towards the end of my presentation. So if you'd like to get more information, if you want to fill out our inquiry form or anything like that, that's the QR code here at the top. If you would like to set up an appointment with me or with our graduate admissions counselor, Kent, that's going to be this QR code right here in the middle where it says set an appointment. And then if you just want to, if you're ready to go and you want to start an application, you can scan that QR code here at the bottom and you can start your application to the university. And then this is just, again, my contact information. So feel free to write that down. If you have any questions, please send me an email. I'm more than happy to help you. If you want to schedule a meeting again, like we could do that. But yeah, we are here to help. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then we can start looking at the Q&A questions.
Okay, so thank you so much, Kate, for your presentation. And now we're going straight forward to our Q&A session. So the first question is, does the University of New Orleans offer scholarships for international students?
Yes, we do offer, so typically it's through your graduate program. But the graduate program does offer graduate assistantships and scholarships, depending what our funding is for the next fiscal year. But they do offer it to admitted international students. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And related to this, they are also asking if you offer fully funded scholarships.
I don't believe they're fully funded. No, it's usually a partial scholarship. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And next question is, do you also offer dorms for international students?
Yes, so for our residential living, we have a couple different options. So for our graduate students, typically they'll stay in Lafitte's Village. That's more for our graduate students. But it's right on campus and you can get a meal plan with it. But yes, those accommodations are available for international students. And I can send that, I'll put that in the chat for more information.
Okay, yes, it will be amazing. Thank you. And also, they're asking if you offer courses to improve English while studying.
So we have a program called IELP. It's our intensive English language program. So typically students will actually start that program first before enrolling in their graduate program or their undergraduate program. But yes, we do have that offered. It's a separate application through that program. But yes, we have a lot of international students who go through that first.
Okay, perfect. Good to know. And okay, so related to English language, they're also asking, I'm from a country where English is the official language. Do I still have to take the test? I know that you spoke a bit about this, so maybe we can repeat it.
Yeah, so we have a few countries that would be waived for sending in the English proficiency requirement. I will say not all countries who even English is like the official language may be on that list. So if you don't find that your country is on that list, then you would still have to submit your English proficiency scores. But I can put that link in the chat as well. That way you can see the full list of what countries those are.
Okay, and maybe we can also repeat if you have some like attestations or certifications that you require about English, because they are asking if it's compulsory to know English or to have a certain level to enroll.
So I'm not exactly sure. That might be a better question for our international admissions like assistant director. So I can definitely send that information to him. Or I can connect those students to him as well.
Okay, perfect.
I just put the link in the chat for the international admissions requirements. And that way you can see what the English proficiency tests are that we need. And then what countries would be waived from that as well.
Perfect, thank you. So please read in the chat and you will find all this information. Also, now we're going with some personal questions, let's say. For example, they are asking, does the University of New Orleans only accept SAT test score in Zambia, we take all levels. Would the University of New Orleans accept them when applying?
So I think that's more an undergraduate admissions question. We don't, on the grad level, we don't look at SATs or ACTs or anything like that. So I'm gonna put, Todd's information, contact information here, and that way, email. Email here in the chat. But he also helps undergraduate students. So yeah, any questions about like an SAT equivalency, he would know the answer for that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So we got also other question. For example, one is, I would like to know if international students can get application fee waiver.
Yes, we do offer application fee waivers to international students if they can, supply, so usually they email me and then I can offer it to them. But it's only available for students who have started an application and who have uploaded their NACES evaluation as well as English proficiency scores if we need them. And then I can apply the application fee waiver to their application.
Okay, perfect. Another question is, do you offer any course related to marine subjects?
The only courses that would be close to that would be in our naval architecture marine engineering program. So we have the master's and the PhD in that. But in terms of marine, it's not gonna be like marine life or animal life, but it's more about like learning like the aquatics of it. And like fluids and different things of like working on a ship or a vessel, on water.
Okay, really interesting. Thank you. And regarding programs, they are also asking, can you please repeat the programs offered under School of Engineering?
Yes. Okay, so it is civil engineering. You can get the master's or the PhD in that. Electrical engineering, master's and PhD. Mechanical engineering, master's or PhD. And then naval architecture and marine engineering, master's or PhD. We also have online engineering management, but that is an accelerated master's kind of program, which means it's done in 8 weeks and it's fully online.
Okay, thank you. I'm seeing that a lot of people are asking for your email. I remember to the students that in the chat you can see the email that Kate just sent you. So just scroll a bit in the chat and you will find it. So, okay. And another question is, how is your network with companies composed?
Yes, so a lot of our a lot of the networking kind of happens through the programs. So it usually happens when you do your assistantship with your faculty members, or if you're doing an internship, or working while you're getting your graduate degree. That's kind of where that main networking happens. But we also have it through our career services office. So they're also very hands-on with our students, kind of helping them connect, especially through, we have an app called the Handshake app. So that kind of connects our students to different companies who are looking to hire. And then they also do big fairs, like career fairs throughout the year. They usually do one in the fall and then one in the spring. And then they also work with different, like programs in New Orleans that kind of connect students to the different career opportunities.
Okay, and related to these, do you offer stage opportunities during the studies? Like any kind of internships with these companies?
Yes, yeah. So there's a lot of students who do internships through the companies while they're getting their masters. It's not required to have an internship. As a graduate student, that's more of a requirement on the undergraduate side. But yes, a lot of students do have an internship or are doing full-time work while they're getting their degree.
Okay. And is it allowed for an international students to work during the studies?
some programs allow it, some don't. It's just kind of dependent on what is allowed through their visa.
Okay, perfect. So another question. Deborah is asking, how does the partial assistantship works?
So, I think you're meaning partial scholarships. So the partial scholarships for graduate students, it is a smaller amount and usually just gets applied to the tuition and fee bill. And then if you have like outside scholarships or any other kind of funding, then that would kind of go to meet it.
Okay. They are also asking, Daniel is asking, how much does it cost for bachelors on an average?
So your bachelor's on average, it'll be kind of similar to the master's. It's usually, I would say, it's gonna be probably anywhere from about like 14,000. To maybe 20,000 if you're gonna be, with room and board and different things like that. For the year.
Okay, thank you. Another question is, if I have a bachelor degree in order to enroll in a graduate course, do I have to offset some credits?
Not exactly sure what this question is asking, but so if you have your bachelor's degree, as long as that's shown on your NACIS evaluation and you meet the graduate school requirements, you should be fine to get into your program. Some programs may need you to take like additional courses to meet certain requirements. So if that's the case, then they would kind of recommend what your next steps would be. Some students will just end up kind of enrolling as like a transfer undergraduate student so that they can take those classes at UNO and then reapply to the graduate program later on.
Okay, thank you. Let's go with another question. Are we supposed to have professors or lecturers during application before we will get assistantship funding, or the department chair would appoint each student with the respective professor or lecturer?
Yes, so especially for the doctorate programs, that's usually how it works. It's the second part. So when the graduate coordinator admits the student, before they admit them, they make sure that they have a full-time professor that can be partnered with the student so that they can lecture the student and kind of help them with any opportunities. So yeah, it would be that second part there.
Okay, thank you. So let's take a tiny break from the questions. In the meantime, I remember to the students that if you want to ask to Kate some questions, please pop them up in the Q&A box and we will read them soon. So Kate, I wanted just to ask you, how is your experience in New Orleans and how is the campus life? If you want to talk a bit about it, since we have here international students, I guess that it's really interesting for them to know a bit more about it.
Yeah, so like I said before, so I'm an alumni of the university. So when I was an undergraduate student, I actually lived on campus. I was very involved in campus life. But there are one of the organizations that I was involved in was Model United Nations. So I was able to kind of meet a lot of my fellow international students throughout that process. But there are a lot of opportunities for students on the undergrad as well as graduate side to kind of get involved. A lot of different organizations, a lot of honors organizations that help the students kind of be a part of. We have even like separate graduate societies for just the grad students to be a part of too. But I would say, especially right now, because spring semester has just started at UNO, our campus is really thriving. So, we have a lot of different events going on for them, a lot of different opportunities for them to kind of get involved. We're usually spring in New Orleans is always my favorite because the weather is always really perfect, excluding today. It's raining right now as I say this. But in the next coming months, especially like March and April, it's really, really nice time. Lots of things to do. We have big festivals in New Orleans coming, in April. We have the Jazz Fest. At UNO, we do a big crawfish fest. So just like a lot of different fun things I would say also like just the campus culture is very inviting, it's very warm and welcoming, very open-minded and progressive. So that's something that I really enjoy with UNO here too. But yeah, but like if you have any specific questions, feel free again, yeah, put them in the chat, the Q&A, and we can kind of look at that too.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much to share your experience. It was really interesting for me to listen. And let's continue with the questions. So we have one that is asking, can GRE be waived for applicants in some cases? So for example, we can apply it to civil engineering.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up civil engineering right now. They actually do not require the GRE for that program, so you do not have to worry about submitting a GRE at all. That one's waived, that is waived.
Okay, perfect. And also, Amin is asking different questions because he's looking for undergraduate degree in supply chain management or port management or marine science. So if you can talk about, for example, the cost of these undergraduate degree, or also if there are any application fee waiver in the requirements.
Okay, yeah, so with students, if they're applying to an undergraduate program, their fees are already waived, so you don't have to worry about paying the undergraduate application fee. So that's waived automatically for you. Specifically, the questions about those programs, we do not offer supply chain management or port management. Marine science, we don't offer as well. We do on the undergraduate level under, I think it's earth and environmental science, there is like a coastal science focus, where students can kind of work with like our wetlands and different things like that. There's also a geology focus too. So if you wanted to say maybe like be a geologist working for a chemical plant or petroleum engineering plant, you could do that. That's one of the focuses we offer on the undergrad side. And then we also offer the naval architecture and marine engineering on the undergrad side. I'm gonna put in the chat just the link to the page for the tuition and fees. And this is gonna give you a breakdown of undergraduate versus graduate. That way you can see both. Because I know we had some questions about what the graduate tuition and fees are. So I'm gonna put both in the chat for you. That way you can kind of see everything.
Okay, perfect. So you can find everything in the chat right now.
Got to put the URL to housing, so I'm adding that in there as well. And then you can kind of see all of our options that we offer for students, for international students to live on campus.
Okay, Amin is saying thank you a lot.
Thousands.
Okay, next question. Deborah is saying, I want to know if there is a system to allow international students to do an internship during vacations.
That's a great question. I am not sure of that answer. So I'm assuming, so this is like, maybe you're not gonna be in classes, like maybe during the summer and you're taking a vacation if you want to do internships. I think again, that would probably be allowed through your graduate program with like your professor of interest. So as long as you work with them, they should be able to offer that. And then it could also be done probably through career services as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So I guess that now we're done with the questions. So, okay. Thanks again to our panelist, Kate, to be with us today. And thanks to everyone to have joined us today, to have been so curious and responsive with all your questions. I hope you learned a lot about the New Orleans University and actually that this webinar helped you to discover more about the city and to move there in the future, who knows. So I like to remind you that you can contact the panelist with the mail that she gave you in the chat. And if you're interested in receive our certificate of attendance, you can click the link that I just sent in the chat here on Zoom. I remember you also that we will share the recording with you in the following days, so please keep an eye on your email. And at this point, I want to ask to our panelist, Kate, if you want to leave a message before saying goodbye to our students.
Yeah, it was really, really nice chatting with all of y'all and virtually meeting you all to this evening. Again, if you have any questions, if you want to set up an appointment with me or anything like that, my email is in the chat. I'm more than happy to meet with you to help you, answer any questions about the university and about our graduate programs.
So thank you, Kate, and thanks again, everyone. I hope to see you again in the next webinar. So for me, it was a pleasure. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.